there is one other matter. Late last night, I became aware of the fact that several of the defense witnesses have been communicating with each other and watching the trial after the rule was invoked by the defense. So I am requesting of this court, or at least notifying this court that that's occurring, and requesting the witnesses be ordered again to stop communicating with each other and stop watching this televised broadcast.
Could you say which witnesses you were referring to?
Miss Enright, Miss Lyle, and Miss Gathright or Nevega.
We're not calling Nevega Gathright.
Okay, well, Miss Enright and Miss Lyle have been communicating with each other, have been communicating with the co-defendant, giving daily updates up to yesterday as to what's happening in this trial, and speaking about their meeting together via Zoom, whether that's the truth or not, with the defense attorneys this weekend at the same time. So I'm not sure if that's accurate, but of course if they are going to be testifying, I would like now for them to be instructed again to not be watching the trial if it's being broadcast. I'd like to address it.
I just want to parse that out. I want to make sure that we're saying what's accurate. You're saying that somebody spoke to a co-defendant. Which co-defendant are you referring to?
Sean Gathright.
All right, so I have no control over whether they speak to Sean Gathright. I can tell them not to do that, but I have no control over that. And I did not know that was happening. You also said that there was a Zoom. You're talking about this coming weekend or the one before?
This past weekend. This past weekend, they indicated that they were meeting with you, your office, the defense, about their testimony for witness preps together on Zoom.
What I'm asking is, who is the they? Who was meeting with us this weekend?
I presume the callers, or at least the person on the other end of the phone. So Mrs. Enright and Miss Lyle, the co-defendant's mother, who were listed.
All right, so I don't recall meeting with them over Zoom, but if I did, there is no problem with us preparing our witnesses for trial the same way that the state prepares their witnesses for trial. The same way that the state talks to their witnesses outside, whether they're grouped together, whether they're separate. They spoke to witnesses. We speak to witnesses before trial. The court will give an instruction, a jury instruction at the end of the trial, which says that it is not improper for the attorneys to talk to the witnesses.
Well, that is true.
It's improper for them to be prepped together on what their testimony is going to be, and it's improper that the defense invoked the rule of sequestration and that those witnesses have been watching the trial ever since. So as we stepped out to instruct our witnesses, I'm just asking that the same be done and that the state be permitted to cross on that issue, which is not outside of the scope of relevant material cross-examination.
Did you prep the witnesses together?
No. And the only thing I would agree with is, of course, once the rule is invoked, they should not be, I guess, paying attention to the trial, watching the trial. But I have no control of that.
I know you don't. I'm assuming you told them, right? The rules of sequestration has been invoked?
I know particularly, I told Sean Gathwight's mother, Ms. Locke. We told her.
So I tell you what, before these witnesses testify, I will allow, out of the presence of the jury, state you can question them on exactly what their knowledge is, who they had conversations with, what the discussion was, and then that way you'll know. And then if you deem it necessary, you can use it in cross-examination.
Yes, Your Honor.
I would like the same opportunity for Detective Ramos. I want to know if he's watching the portion of the trial before he took the stand.
Okay. Yeah, go Freeman, ask him. Are we ready to go otherwise?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Oh, yes, and there's a, when Detective Ramos begins, I think we're getting into the testimony regarding the Uber driver.
The first question I'll ask, because we were talking about the Uber driver, is what his name is, and we do not want that broadcast, and then I will just refer to him as the Uber driver.
Okay, very good. Very good.
The last thing I said is something we've got to be careful about phone numbers. So I'll tell you right now, there's been phone numbers that people have had to change.
Well, listen. Here's the thing. There are material facts in this case regarding phone numbers and emails and physical addresses. And this is a public court, and these are material facts, and they're part of the record. And I'm not going to put the burden on the media to scrub out every single phone number and every single email for particularly material facts. Now, someone like the Uber driver who's got no connection to this case or whatever, I'm comfortable with his identity not being disclosed. So, if they are individuals with addresses and emails and phone numbers that are of material relevance to this case, I'm not going to order that they be scrubbed.
So there are people making threats to individuals whose phone numbers have been shown. And I'm not putting it on the media. I would just ask if the state knows that they're going to introduce or publish information on the screen that the media is watching, that at least we somehow talk about that beforehand, and we can either put a sticky over the number or something. It's not like they're showing the number and they're connecting it to some piece of evidence. It's just on the screen.
Okay, well, you guys have to make specific objections and then let me know ahead of time. Okay, I'm not just going to have a general blanket rule that the media can't broadcast what's happening in here. This is a public forum. Anybody in the public can come in here and watch this trial and see the evidence. So if there is specific confidential information that you don't want broadcast, you need to identify it, then we need to discuss it. But specifically with regards to the name of the Uber driver, I am going to allow the state to refer to him as the Uber driver. There's really no reason that person's identity needs to be disclosed during the course of the trial. Okay.
Judge, if I could ask, Detective Ramos is our last witness, and assuming we finish him in the next 2 hours, what is the defendant's lineup of witnesses so we know for preparation, since we've accommodated them throughout this trial with this?
We don't have a problem doing that. We did that the other day. But you're saying your direct is going to be 2 hours, or you're talking about?
We still have probably a couple of hours, yes.
So yeah, I mean, this afternoon, we have witnesses that will be here at 1. That is.
So we have Joel Jordan, Jakayla, I'm not sure, Robinson, for sure, and
Robert Howard. Tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. we have Thomas Pullen.
I'm sorry,
Thomas Pullen, our cell phone expert.
Now, can I ask about Mr. Pullen? We were provided with cell phone tracking by him involving the defendant's phone. In deposition a couple of months ago, he told us that he's been asked to do the co-defendant's phones, and we've been asking for that all the way up to the day the trial started. Counsel's one response to Ms. Doherty was she was repeating herself and that it's not important to him, and if it gets excluded, it gets excluded. So I don't know at this point, are you using anything in addition to what we've been provided? If so, I'd like to have it for his cross-examination.
It's not one response. It was several emails back and forth, and Ms. Doherty and I were on Zoom together discussing this issue, or on the phone, one of the two. So that's a misrepresentation. In addition to that, there are maps that he said he would create for the other individuals, like timing maps, so it showed the trajectory of where they were at certain particular points in time during the course of this conspiracy. He didn't create the maps, and so we're not using the maps. So whatever he's testifying to comes from the evidence. It comes from the cell phone extractions.
I know, but if it's an expert opinion, specifically, is he going to testify to anything regarding the cell phones of the co-defendants?
Yes, but he doesn't have to provide a map for that.
I'm not saying that. They're saying that they asked you about that and that you didn't respond.
I just said that's not true, and he will tell you that. He didn't say that I did not respond. He said I responded one time. That's not true. I responded a few times back and forth. That conversation was just about whether I was going to produce these interactive maps. And I told him I don't have them.
Did you depose him?
I did, Your Honor, and I asked him if he had developed any further opinions or other work to let us know so we could take a deposition of him. And I reserved the right to continue the deposition.
And were you ever notified after the deposition that their expert was now going to offer opinions as to the cell phone data of the co-defendants?
No.
Until today?
No.
The middle of trial?
Yes.
Well, there's a difference between him offering an opinion.
Listen, we're not going to, listen, we got to get going. We'll cross that bridge at a later date. State, you need to file whatever appropriate motion you deem necessary regarding
Yes, Your
that.
Honor. Your Honor, one other thing before we bring the jury
Yep.
in. If I understand counsel right, because they invoke the rule of sequestration, they have only advised one of their witnesses about the rule?
I don't know.
Is that correct, counsel?
That's correct.
Okay, so I would ask that they, as they're obligated to do when they invoke the rule, advise all of your witnesses, please, not to view what's on court TV.
The way that counsel is speaking to defense, it's been happening since day one.
But
It's
Ms.
very
White,
unnecessary,
I
Your
know, but
Honor.
here, Ms. White, this is the problem. You invoked the rule of sequestration.
I understand that.
Okay, I'm making a statement, I'm not looking for responses, okay? You invoke the rule of sequestration. That means all witnesses, it's incumbent upon the lawyers, as the professionals that they are, to tell all of their witnesses as well. You're not to be discussing the case, you're not to be watching it on court TV, and apparently that didn't happen, right? Didn't happen. Inexcusable.
Well, Your Honor,
Inexcusable.
if I may respond, we are professionals, just like every other attorney in this courtroom. The bigger point that I was making is that the way that Mr. Harmon has been speaking to this side of the table is unprofessional, it's disrespectful. He's done it in front of the jury as well, and there has not been any attempt by the court to intervene in that. So I want to make sure that it's on the record that it's inappropriate. The rising tone is unnecessary, and it's disrespectful, and it's inappropriate.
Ms. White, everything that's happened in this trial is on the record. Everything's been videotaped. The conduct of everybody involved.
Right.
Okay? And the failure of the defense to tell their own witnesses not to talk about the case is inexcusable, and that's a matter of record.
Well, also,
We don't want to discuss it any further. I
what
don't.
doesn't
We're
add to
done.
the record is that they've had witnesses outside the courtroom discussing the case with each other, talking about the case. The prosecutors themselves.
Well, you should have brought it to my attention.
I'm doing it now because it's been an issue. They're apparently saying it's an issue for us, and they're doing it themselves.
Okay, let's bring in Detective Ramos. Ask him if he's been watching court TV about this case, and then we'll get going. Hello, good morning, Detective. You remain under oath, so there was an issue that was raised, or an allegation, that you've been watching this trial on court TV. Is that accurate?
No.
Okay. Any questions?
Well, I didn't allege that. I just wanted to ask a question.
Yeah, you did allege it.
ask.
Wait. So you told me that you believed you've been watching this on court TV, and now you're backtracking and saying, well, I didn't make the allegation.
I
Pardon
did
me?
not say that I believe he's watching it. I don't know what he does in his spare time.
Okay.
They brought up the issue. I said I would like the opportunity to ask Detective Ramos the same question. I didn't allege that he was doing anything.
Okay, so you just said no. Any questions?
No, I mean, you've asked the question. I thought I was going to ask the question, but he said no, that's it. I mean,
Okay, very good. Let's go. All right.